Yeah.
Mt Maroon. This beast sits about half an hour south of Boonah and is part of southeast Queensland's amazing scenic rim. Boasting some incredible 360-degree views, taking in Mount Barney and the surrounding area, this is really a must-see for the avid hiker. The most common route to climb Mt Maroon is from the Cotswold Road end and up the tourist route. But today we decided to climb from the other side. You start this trail towards the end of Seedon Spinner Road and cross a little bridge and park up just past the bridge. It starts off pretty uneventful, just some normal fire trail type walking, the usual stuff where you just walk around and chat about random things, seeing and hearing little critters and birds flying around in the bushes, and generally feeling pretty pumped about the new trail ahead that you're just about to explore. The sun was out and we had a bit of blue sky, which was good. We'd planned our route and the forecast was for a rather cruisy day. This was all going as could be expected, with some light scrub bashing and negotiating the odd large fallen trees.
Ah, come on. Oh.
But then we heard in the distance the sound of a waterfall and had to check it out. I was thinking this was just going to be a short detour and then we would return to more of the trail that we were on.
That way, I don't know.
However, this didn't happen, and once I saw Tim climbing the waterfall, I knew things were about to take a more adventurous turn, as it was decided to follow up the creek as far as we could. My enthusiasm for this idea very quickly turned into apprehension upon the shocking realisation that my boots were definitely not up to the grip challenge presented by the wet rocks. Combined with my overweight backpack and the rapidly increasing levels of humidity, this hike that started off so cruisy was quickly turning into something a bit more interesting. But it wasn't very long before my first slip. Then my second. Then my third. And then this became a common theme for the rest of the day as I continued slipping on just about every mossy rock I found. Little did I realise it was only going to get worse on the way back.
Far out.
It can really take the relaxation factor out of your hiking trips when you constantly have in the back of your mind that the next slip could be a sprained or a broken ankle or a twisted knee or a concussion if you land wrong or a slipped disc or something like that. Even though I had my PLB and first aid kit, it's still a nagging issue when hiking in remote areas, and it can really bring the mood down because instead of focusing on all the beautiful surroundings, you're stressing about correct placement and what you're going to grab if you slip and fall, that sort of thing. Soon enough we encountered this nice waterfall and decided that this would be a nice time for a break and a bit of a snack.
I have a boot inundated with water.
After this section we got away from the creek for a bit and were able to climb a bit more stable terrain. However, at this point the humidity was really high and there wasn't much of a breeze happening. So I was feeling like this walking soggy mess, and that was slowing me down a fair bit. After a little bit more bush bashing, we came across this massive rock that was just leaning against a tree right on the edge of a cliff. It seriously looked like it was ready to fall off at just the slightest nudge. That was pretty awesome to see that just sitting there.
Looks like it's just waiting there for someone to sneeze on it.
Wow, that's enormous.
Yeah. Far out.
That beer's going to taste pretty sweet, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
About here was probably the first spot where you could really start to take it in and enjoy the views. On a clear day you'd be able to see Mount Barney off in the distance, calling you to come and climb it.
Not a beer, but it's
There's the summit. Getting there slowly. Don't do this in the wet. This is an absolute shin killer. The rocks are like ice. So winter would be great for this one. And don't go with people who are fitter than you. Not a bad view, eh?
rain.
Oh, beautiful.
Getting colder.
Good.
The water coming off the mountain at this spot was so cold, like it just came out of the fridge, and it had a refreshment factor of about
that's
10.
good.
It was just what I needed to cool down.
Oh, far out.
When you get to this section, the terrain finishes being a bush bash and a walk and transitions to more climbing territory. It actually reminded me a little bit of Logan's Ridge on Mount Barney. It was a similar type of rock, nice and rough and grippy, but I still wasn't super confident in the wet.
This is good Logan's training. John would have loved this.
This is right.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's alright. Isn't that like Pt1? Yeah. Dry is the key word here, eh?
Yeah.
As I was getting higher, I definitely felt my bag getting lighter, but not for a good reason. Because of the humidity, I was drinking water like a fish. And the problem is just drinking water isn't enough, because you sweat out more than you can replace. And then you start losing electrolytes, which are vital for your body to function. They're like the motor oil for your body, and when you start to run low, it'll affect nerve signals, muscles, and even heart rhythm. You'll start to get headaches and cramps and other problems, which is something you don't need, especially on a remote hike. Thankfully, I always carry another litre minimum of electrolytes in addition to my water. I just use these ones here from Aldi and they work fine. And although it's definitely helping, I'm also going through that fast.
Oh, it just keeps going. This is why we subject ourselves to this sort of horror, because it's just awesome once you get to the top. Nearly at the top.
I think this is probably the way to go.
Oh yeah, the top's just there. What, maybe 50 meters?
Little did we realise at the time, but it wasn't 50 metres. Not even close.
Nothing but giant step up, kangaroo point style.
40%. 40% is when you think you've had enough and you can't do any more. But you've only reached 40%. Yeah.
This stuff that I'm waffling on about is the 40% rule. It's a rule talked about by a Navy SEAL named David Goggins. Long story short, it means that when you're exercising and your body is saying, that's it, I'm done, you're actually only about 40% done. And you've still got another 60% to go. It's kind of like driving around in a car with a dodgy fuel gauge, telling you that you're empty when you've still got half a tank left. We can generally go further than we think we can. It's a pretty cool theory, and it's definitely worth having a look at.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, yeah.
Once we got up into the cloud layer, all the sweaty humidity disappeared and we were embraced by the most amazing
That is
cool
good.
air you could ask for. It was like getting a shot of NOS. You were recharged and had energy that you were certain had abandoned you down on the mountainside. It was also here that we got to see the summit within our reach.
Summit's just over there.
While we still had to rock hop a bit, at least the terrain had begun to level out. Finally, we made it to the summit, and while the view was completely obscured by the clouds, it was still such a welcome feeling of accomplishment. The air was cold and crisp as we sat up there and enjoyed our lunch. But this perilous adventure was just getting started, as was the rain, and now we had to go down an unforgiving terrain full of wet and slimy rock.